A Raging Sam who doesn't watch Raw, hosted by the Broad without a flaw. Can you feel the presence of Jason near this careless pod? Holy shoot is here. Yes, we are all part men, but we're all model. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Holy Shoot podcast, a podcast that is all about the world of professional wrestling. I am your host, Broderick, and joining me today are...
It's me, I'm Sam. I'm jumping in before Jason says anything, because I'm the best.
Wow. Well, I figure if you're not going first, you want to go last. So I'm letting you jump in. I don't know if you noticed that. I'm letting you go second, because now I'm Jason, and people remember that a lot more than who that Jabroni was in the middle.
Yeah, I'm quite right, Jason. Jason
that's true.
Jason's the main event. Like, if this is WrestleMania, Jason would be Becky Lynch. I would probably be Seth Rollins. We're very much in love. And Sam, you'd probably be, I don't know, Kurt Angle versus Baron Corbin.
Come on now. At least let me have a good middle of the card match.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, before we get proper discussing about this, and before I even ask how you're doing, first and foremost, I want to talk about Omaha Steaks.
Oh, God. We promised we wouldn't do this. They're not paying us.
I heard you like a huge sausage, and Sam, I like you heard. I heard you want the Father Day pack, even though you're not a dad yet.
I mean, yeah, I'm eating for a family. I could eat for a family, but like, yeah. I think we should point out that they do perfectly good steaks at Sainsbury's and Tesco's and Asda as well, and your local butchers. Get down your local butchers. Support your local business.
You're trying to ruin like a potential sponsorship here. How could you?
Well, I mean, what I'm saying is, if Omaha Steaks are listening, I don't have to be as fair and balanced as I'm being now. They're just going to have to grease my paws a little bit.
Jason's actually researching Omaha Steaks.
Sam, if you go to Sainsbury's for $90 or less than $90, can you get 4 flaming mignon steaks? Can you get 4 Omaha steak burgers? Can you get 4 boneless chicken breasts? And also on top of this, 4 potato au gratins and those lovely desserts, those tartlets, those caramel apple tartlets, 4 of those. All
oh God, you're sounding like fucking Conrad Thompson, I swear. What's wrong with you? Yes, I could get all that from Sainsbury's. Furthermore, what is a boneless chicken breast? I never bought a chicken breast that has a bone in it in my life.
It's a good point, actually.
It's like... Yeah, your advertise boneless sausage. Oh, good. That's just a regular sausage.
Boneless sausage.
51% off as well.
From every day. Oh dear, this is gone.
Omaha Steaks, everyone. If you go to the website and use the promo code Holy Shoot, you'll get 97% off.
Yeah.
This is not a real advert, by the way. Just in case, like going, I really fancy some Omaha steak. It's just yeah, I blame that Talk is Jericho podcast. Great podcast, by the way, the one with John Moxley. If you haven't heard it yet, I do.
Oh yeah, very good.
I know we're taking the piss, but you know,
it's great. It's not Holy Shoot great, but it's pretty great.
Yeah.
By the way, I'd like to talk to you all about Blue Chew. Do you guys suffer from not getting boners enough? I can fix that with some sweets.
Ooh.
And you're in the Blue Chew order.
Oh God. Anyway, in serious note, how you doing, guys? How you doing?
Yeah, not bad. I did all my homework for this show all in about the last 3 hours, so I'm full of wrestling at the moment.
Ooh, you've got the wrestling deep inside of you.
I do.
What about you, Jason? Have you got wrestling deep inside you?
Not as deep and hard as Sam has got wrestling inside him, I think, because I did my wrestling on the weekend, so I've just been acting like a normal person.
Yeah, I did mine over the last 2 days. I watched one show that we'll be discussing on Sunday, and the other show that will be discussed on the Monday that we're also discussing. So should I just get on with it, or? Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, this is a great segue in. So anyway, on today's show, we'll be reviewing not just NXT Takeover 25 after this short break, but we'll also be doing a retro review of the first ever WWE Network Live special and a precursor to the first ever NXT Takeover. We'll be talking about NXT Arrival. So join us after this short little interlude. NXT Takeover 25 happened this weekend. 5 varying different types of matches. And it was definitely an interesting show, to say the least. It was originally going to happen in San Jose, and then there was rumor that it was Saudi Arabia, but then it happened at a smaller venue in Bridgeport, Connecticut. And yeah, it was genuinely quite an interesting show. So before we do a deep dive, gentlemen, what were your initial thoughts on NXT Takeover 25 just after you finished watching the show?
So I watched it all on, I guess, Sunday morning, the day after. It was a good show. It was not the best NXT Takeover I've ever seen, and it wasn't the best show of the past week. So it was unusual to say that.
Yeah, I thought it was like, as a show, it was like a U shape. It started off really, really strong, then it had a bit of a dip in the middle, and then picked up again towards the end.
I thought it was probably the best show this month.
I
mean, technically, it's the start of the month. I mean, in the past month, I thought it was the best show I've seen. I thought it was really good. So, where do we want to start, guys? Do you want to start in the beginning, middle, end?
I want to start with my favourite show, my favourite match on the show, which is also the first match. So let's do that.
Yeah, Riddle and Strong, man. They're good at wrestling.
Yeah, so I mean, this. I probably enjoyed the first 2 matches more than most of the rest of the card, but the one that stood out for me was Matt Riddle v Roderick Strong. This was just under 15 minutes with Riddle going over. And the reason I think this one stood out to me is because after watching AEW and lots of other wrestling recently, the AEW had a lot going on their show, and I know it's a lot of people saying you shouldn't compare the two of them, but you can't help but do it. But AEW did not have a match like this. Just 2 really good young wrestlers being amazingly smooth and wrestling really, really well. And that's why it stood out more than anything else for me.
It's kind of how I would have envisaged. I mean, of course, they're 2 different guys, but it's in terms of like 2 young guys, as Jason said, like it would have probably been like an Adam Page versus Pac sort of match. Like if you had to compare Double or Nothing, and shame that we didn't get that Double or Nothing. But yeah, I think this was a really awesome opener. I loved every second of it. Matt Riddle's becoming one of my favourite guys on that NXT roster, you know? Like, he's really grown on me. He's terrific. The fact that he can do all that in, like, 4 or 5 years he's been wrestling now? Only 4 or 5 years?
Matt Riddle, yeah not long.
I mean,
that's amazing.
He was a shoot fighter before, but still.
Yeah, and the whole thing was good when you look at it, because they built slowly as well. They didn't just start throwing each other around the ring. They built the match up over this 15 minutes, so it took a while to get going. And then there was great work. There was that great superplex by Strong where he was just working Riddle's back. There's just little things, all the little things they were doing. And I realised how good Roderick Strong does a superplex, because his opponent actually lands first, and he lands well after that, so the opponent takes the brunt of it. And it's those little things that Strong is really good at, but you probably don't appreciate. And then they had a great series of like punches and kicks as well, and then slams by Strong. So it was a great little he does some great work.
I mean, you got Strong, who's probably like one of the best technical wrestlers in WWE, let alone NXT, and then you have Matt Riddle, who's just, great at the submissions. And the best thing about Matt Riddle is because he has that MMA experience. He can take a beating, so he can probably go above and beyond in terms of the selling. He knows how to sell as well, because he has that experience of being in fucking pain. So
it looked really good, like the selling. Yeah. I think there were some knees and punches on the ropes where Strong just kept hitting Riddle, and it just looked really good. And I think this match has pulled me in because they were both such good performers.
For me, this match made me realise I didn't, up until this match, I didn't think too much of Roderick Strong. I thought he was all right, but I'd not ever seen anything of his, because I don't watch Ring of Honor, that made me go like, holy shit, this guy's really good at wrestling. But this match was like a really good showcase for both guys. But for me, particularly Roderick Strong, because I already knew Matt Riddle is great, basically.
Yeah, I think Roderick Strong's had like a couple of good matches in NXT, but he's never really had that standout match. He's had like good ones with Drew McIntyre, Bobby Roode, and Eric Young that are worth going back and watching. But yeah, this was definitely his best match in NXT. Wow, I still think Matt Riddle had a better match with Velveteen Dream in New York, but I'd give this like a 4.5 star.
God, Roderick Strong's been in developmental for a while then, though, that list of names you just rattled off.
Yeah, at the same time, he lacked the mic skill before going to the Undisputed Era.
Yeah, okay.
I look at Strong and he makes me think of Dean Malenko back in WCW days,
Yeah.
where just even similar size, but just amazingly good in the ring. But yeah, he's getting better at talking at least. I mean, I don't know if I gave it 4.5. It's definitely probably the 4-star match at least on the show for me. But one thing I want to ask you guys, when Riddle hit the V trigger a few times, and they referred to it as a V trigger on commentary, I've never noticed that before.
I was surprised.
That was just me noticing for the first time.
Yeah, I heard that and I was like, I think it's just, Maranello is very referential. I think he has freedom to commentate, unlike any other commentator in WWE, given his, given his experience. And so I wouldn't read too much into it. I did find it interesting that Strong applied Lion Tamer on on Matt Riddle, but apparently he used that move quite a lot back in Ring of Honor as well. So
I mean, maybe they did try and get a few little jabs in the opening match. You had the V trigger, you had obviously the Lion Tamer, both AEW guys, plus your man Nigel McGuinness saying at the beginning, this is the black. What did he say? The black and orange brand has always been the alternative in professional wrestling, or something like that.
Yeah, sports entertainment, which is, only WWE refers to it as sports entertainment. So technically, he's not wrong.
I mean, no, that's fair.
It is an alternative to their own product, but yeah, I don't really care for the jabs either way, and that goes for both sides. That sort of sentiment is the same sentiment I had towards like Cody smashing up the Triple H throne at Double or Nothing. Like, I just don't care. I want both products to succeed. Stop taking shots.
I mean, so do I, but I think Cody's was a bit too overt. I like these little jabs that are like kind of a bit insidery. I quite like that.
That's why you call Triple H the cerebral assassin.
Oh yeah.
That's probably one of my favorite match on the show. Like I say, I really enjoyed the ladder match as well, but that's my favorite match I'm going with. So I don't know if you have a favorite match other than that. You guys.
I want to reveal at the end. I'm going to give my grade match of the night, my MVP at the end. So I won't say too much, but it's. I mean, there's 3 matches I absolutely loved on this card, and that was one of them.
I thought the ladder match was a bit hit and miss. I thought it had a lot of quite contrived kind of standing around waiting for people to be in position with ladders type spots, which a lot of these kind of multi-man matches can have. But I think they built to a really good finish, and like the last 5 minutes of the match were really, really good. But I thought I'm actually trying to look up who the guys were who I didn't think much of. I think it was Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch, the 2 guys in the red trousers. That was
Forgotten Sons.
Oh, was that the Forgotten Sons?
Yeah.
Them, yeah. I thought they were a bit. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff they did where I thought, come on, lads, you're just setting yourself up.
They are slightly weaker technically than the other 3 teams there. Like Fish and O'Reilly, they've been awesome since Ring of Honor. Undisputed Era, awesome. We don't need to talk about how great they are.
Yeah.
Street Profits, they've grown so much over the past 2 years. They're fantastic, especially Montez Ford. Montez is great. I love Montez, and
they were the standouts in this match for me. I'd only seen the Undisputed Era before as teams.
Yeah, you don't watch NXT, so that.
No, I don't know.
So so it's interesting to know that Street Profits stood out to you, and Birch and Lorcan are really good as well. They haven't had much of an opportunity to showcase it, but yeah, Forgotten Sons, they're a bit hit and miss with me. What about you, Jason?
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed this match. A few things that stood out. Yeah, I mean, I've talked before about Montez Ford and how he's just oozes charisma. So just seeing those guys come out, including him playing air guitar when Undisputed Era came out, when they quickly away. There's little things like that. But the main thing, I mean, the MVP of this match for me is Kyle O'Reilly. He's just brilliant. I mean, I think they were trying to kill him at some point. I actually was worried. There was a couple of things like the ladder back suplex where he landed on the side of it. Then the ladder was tossed across the ring and he was on the ground. Like it was tossed at some pace and luckily didn't hit him. But then the other great thing he did was when he was, there was great camera work when he was, staring down the ramp before Jackson Riker was revealed. And it was just, I think Kyle O'Reilly, his expressions are brilliant, and they just had to focus on him for a bit before Riker was revealed and, came at them and then started being the big man to trash things. So, I mean, I enjoyed the match. Like I think it wasn't the best ladder match you ever see. There's a lot going on, but I love the Street Profits. So I'm glad they won. Undisputed Era are always good value for this kind of match.
Was it better than both of the Money in the Bank ladder matches this year?
Oh, It's a good question. The Money in the Bank matches were okay. I mean, I was very much enjoying the Money in the Bank match, the men's one until the end, and the women's wasn't brilliant. So I don't know.
I missed the women's one. Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one. I think they're very different matches because this was obviously like a tag team competition rather than a singles match.
They're still multi-man matches.
Yeah, I guess there's a bit of a different dynamic when you have 4 teams of 2 instead of just 8 dudes out for themselves.
Yeah, I thought this was a better match than either Money in the Bank ladder matches. To be honest, I felt this match was more brutal, and that's after the Finn Balor spots that we saw from the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Just going back to Kyle O'Reilly, yeah. Have you seen the lacerations on his back after that match?
No, I'd imagine he's got a few though. Some of the he just took some nasty falls basically.
Oh, yeah, I think
Bobby Fish was apparently hurt his shoulder as well. Not majorly, but
I saw he had his arm in a sling at the end of the show, but I hadn't seen any injury updates yet.
Yeah, but I think my favourite little bit, which was quite weird, is just Jackson Riker coming in, and I just really love that guy's intensity, and I like the fact that
he's a big lad. I forgot you realise how big he is when he's in the ring with normal sized guys.
I mean, he's got a long way to go, obviously, but his character's just he scares me. He scares me.
Yeah, I enjoyed that everyone then ganged up to beat him down. It makes him. It's helping to build him as well as a character. I mean, I enjoyed this. It's probably my second favorite match on the show.
Oh, really? Really? Oh, interesting. Yeah, I would give this 4.25 stars. I really enjoyed this match.
Cool. Well, I think we're kind of working through them in order by default at the moment. And actually, I did want to ask you guys anyway. I always love Velveteen Dream. Yep. He's my favorite guy normally on any NXT shows. It's normally my favorite match.
Really?
This
not Johnny Gargano.
I love Johnny. I mean, we'll talk about that a bit more and when we get to the main event, I think, and I realise why he's not my favourite and why it's Velveteen Dream. But for me, even Velveteen Dream was not, I think he's had such a great series of matches. This one stood out for a few things to me in terms of Dream was wearing slightly saggy gold pants, which seemed some Elton John gimmick he was doing. And I don't expect Velveteen Dream to be wearing boring saggy gold pants. I expect him to be wearing airbrushed badass tights. And it was funny watching. I think I put the reason I didn't enjoy it down to the fact that I could not take Tyler, who you, I guess, spoofed in the opening of the show. I could not take Tyler Breeze as a serious contender. So I struggled to get into the match.
No, I agree, and I think that's why I thought the finish was a bit questionable, because now it just kind of leaves Tyler Breeze where? He can't cut it on the main roster, he can't cut it in NXT. Should he just leave now?
I don't think that's entirely fair on Tyler Breeze. I mean, they've split up the Fashion Police. He is back on NXT permanently by all accounts, and this was said after the show, so it's possible you might get a rematch between these two. I think this was a good match. I'm gonna put it out there. It wasn't a bad match at all. I think it was good. I don't think it was great, and I think that's a shame. And I think one of the things that really lacked from Tyler Breeze's side was character. And I think part of me kind of forgot that Tyler, when he was in the ring in the original batch of NXT takeovers that you saw, from matches with Sami Zayn to Neville to fucking Jushin Thunder Liger, he was always he wrestled in a slower way than you thought, and I kind of forgot about that. It's very interesting. So it took me by surprise, and I think that's why I viewed it not as good as other Tyler Breeze matches and other Velveteen Dream matches for that matter.
So I think he's not the biggest guy, but I think Tyler Breeze is good on the mic, and he's also good in the ring. And I think
he is good.
Yeah, I just felt like agreeing to go down to developmental and then getting a title shot and immediately losing felt a bit of a waste almost.
Yeah, but they've kind of done this before by using previous stars. Like they have used legends in the past to put over talent at NXT, and I think Velveteen is a bigger star. But I think this is like kind of a fantasy matchup between the old and new NXT. For me, I understand why people didn't want to take this seriously because a lot of people go, Tyler Breeze is a joke on the main roster, but NXT he was like up there, always competing for the title. So it's kind of going back to this NXT universe, which is almost separate from the WWE universe in a way.
I also didn't get the finish in terms of the Velveteen Dream is a face now, and the finish was a bit heely with the whole belt as a distraction.
I felt Velveteen was a heel heading into this match.
Yeah, it confused me, to be honest.
I thought it was a bit of a New Japan-y booking where there's not really a clear good guy or a bad guy.
I felt like Tyler Breeze was a good guy in this match. It really did. From even that promo that Tyler came out, it felt like he was going to be made to be the face. Because it was just like Velveteen Dream, no one cares about you getting called up, etc. And it wasn't in a way that was like, no one cares. It's just because, you're a rookie. You learn your place.
Oh, yeah.
So it was that sort of thing. I think what bugged me most about this match was the actual physical ending where Tyler Breeze doesn't want Velveteen to get counted out. And he goes and begs the referee when any other wrestler would just roll back outside. It's just
that didn't make any sense.
Yeah, that was bad for NXT booking. NXT is usually very sensible booking, and then just the use of the North American title like as a distraction, that didn't work for me, and it kind of cheapened the finish. I think if you had a clean finish, this match would feel a lot better. But I will agree that it lacked something, but I think it still was a good match.
It was, for me, it's unusual. I said this was like a 3-star match to me. It wasn't anything better than that. And it's definitely, as Sam saying, it's a U-shaped show, and this is like the bottom point, right in the middle.
Yeah,
I'd give it around 3.25. I thought it was still a good match, and I think the fact that we're saying 3 stars is quite crap. It's like it's actually really good still.
That is the bar that is set by NXT.
Yeah,
we're used to every match being 4 stars or at least 3.5. So that's just making the point. But
it's not Velveteen's worst match at Takeover either.
Oh no, I think I was disappointed just because these two guys. Obviously, I've seen and heard lots about Velveteen Dream, and I've also heard lots of people saying, "Oh, Tyler Breeze was excellent when he was in NXT," and so I was expecting gangbusters and.
I really wanted to be camped up a bit more. I think that's what I really wanted to see, just something campy and just like complete showmanship, and it was just lacking that, and it was mainly from Tyler's end for some reason. It's like Tyler came out in black. Like you complained about the attire of Velveteen Dream. Tyler came out in black. Like he's a supermodel. He should be wearing something just as eccentric.
He was trying to be a bit serious, wasn't he?
But if anything. This was a perfect opportunity for both men to have the campiest, in a great way, by the way, the campiest entrances in NXT history. And Velveteen had that, Statue of Liberty entrance in New York. But we could have something even campier. And just from a fantasy booking perspective, just in character work, that's what frustrated me more than the match itself.
I think I realised this was a B show or a B level takeover when I saw Velveteen Dream's entrance not being that flashy compared to his previous ones, like at New York. And Sam, that's the one to go back and watch. Velveteen Dream versus Matt Riddle. That whole package was brilliant.
You haven't seen NXT Takeover?
Oh no, I did watch NXT Takeover New York. Yeah, that's the WrestleMania weekend one, right? Yeah, I did watch that one. Yeah,
amazing.
All the big ones I tend to watch. I just don't really watch the weekly show.
Yeah, fair enough.
So,
not fair enough. You should watch the weekly shows.
There's so much wrestling, though, man.
Yeah, well, NXT's the best hour WWE puts out each and every week.
So after that hot start of the first two, and then the sort of slow down from the mid match, what did you guys make of the women's championship? Because in my notes I've got again good but not great.
Yeah.
That's basically it. I don't really remember much about it, to be brutally honest. I just felt it was a bit.
It was, yeah, I think you're right. I can't remember any particularly notable spots. Io Shirai hit a moonsault, but that's what she does in most matches. I thought it was a weird kind of on and off match. There were bits where I was really into it and getting drawn in, and then they just wouldn't carry the momentum on, or it wasn't bad. It just wasn't great.
Yeah, I mean you talk about a 3-star match. I think this epitomizes it. But it's the most forgettable 3-star match I've ever seen. The fact that I can't really remember too much except for the angle at the end. I think what really annoyed me about this match was yet again the finish. Now, and we're not going to talk about the beatdown angle about right now. We're going to talk about that finish. How long was Shirai in that hold?
Yeah, that was a bit over the top, and that didn't normally tap out very quick, and she was in that for a long time, fighting it before giving it away.
Because it reminded me of when Baszler fought Ember Moon, and the first time, I think it was Takeover Philadelphia, if I'm correct. If I have, bonus points to me. But it just took forever for that submission to be broken, and this here reminded me of the exact same thing. It was just like, you're gonna escape or are you going to tap already? Like, come on. This is an MMA fighter. You want an element of realism in Baszler's type of fights because that's where she thrives. And you just make the Kirifuda clutch look weak.
In a way,
Shirai look strong.
Sorry. In a way, I do kind of like the hold going on for a bit longer than it usually would for a tap-out victory, because I think a lot of the time I find myself thinking, they've been in this hold for about 15 seconds, which means this isn't the finish, and someone's going to fight their way to the ropes or have some other method of getting out of it. Like any hold that goes on for what you might consider a long time for a submission move to go on, you just, as a wrestling fan, you automatically think, this isn't the end then.
Yeah. I think it's just one of those kayfabe things where I just don't really buy into it too much just because I watch other combat sports. So I think that's partly my, just personally speaking, but I think there's got to be like, come on, if you're not going to do something, just tap out. You know?
Oh no, I agree. There's definitely limits.
Yeah.
So this was the shortest match on the show at about 12 minutes. I was more interested in what happened afterwards because I think, Rod, you mentioned this last week, the whole, we could move this into a Shayna Baszler versus Candice LeRae feud instead in the run-up to the SummerSlam sort of takeover. And I don't know if that's where we're going following the beatdown.
No.
And the whole
was that Candice LeRae that did the run-in at the end? I didn't catch them in the commentary saying it. Didn't she used to hang out with some dick guy who was like really good at wrestling or something?
Joey Ryan.
Sam.
I was doing a Being the Elite joke, sorry.
This is not all elite wrestling. This is not all elite wrestling. This is NXT.
Joey Ryan's not on the All Elite Wrestling roster.
I know, but Being the Elite, All Elite Wrestling, they're all the same thing.
Yeah, fair enough.
Adam Cole's apparently dead, according to Being the Elite.
I want to see Candice LeRae and Shayna Baszler in a badass feud now for a few months.
Yeah, no, I think we're going to get a Baszler Shirai rematch. But Candice bit is a bit that I don't really want to talk about, I don't care about. It's more of a case of was it me or it felt like a double turn, and it, even though it wasn't a double turn, if you know what I mean. It just felt like Shirai, for once, is just beating down Baszler, even though there's actual no justification, because Baszler beat Shirai clean.
Yeah, it added to what we were saying. There's some weird non-NXT type finishes, and that tied into it.
Yeah, it's just like, what? Like, why would Io do that? She lost clean. Like, she's not that sort of character, but she just snapped. And the commentary tried their best to explain it away. But, no, this is bad booking. It just felt like Shirai was being a bit of a dick, if I'm honest. Just like, well, don't fall to her level.
Yeah, I did think it was a bit weird, but I put it down to, maybe something's happened on the weekly show that I didn't see. Which, in a way, it's kind of good that it still made sense.
Shirai did use a Singapore cane on Baszler, but I think that was to fend off a beating down to Candice LeRae, if I remember correctly. So I think that's why. And obviously, the 3 of the 4 horsewomen took out Kairi Sane. In Kairi Sane's last match in NXT and made Io watch, which was kind of good, just the way they did that. But yeah, even then, I know it's a comeuppance thing, but it didn't feel like it. You know, I will say though, Jason, going back to the Candice thing, I did love when she interfered and like got the cane out and laid the beating on the Duke and Shafir. I took some great satisfaction out of that one.
Yeah, I agree. They hinted at it earlier. They sort of let you know backstage in one of the promos that she was going to be there to have Lasharon's back.
Yeah, I think that was actually a good little hint to that moment. Anyway, let's talk about the main event because I don't really want to talk about much of the women's match, to be honest. It's Gargano versus Cole, which is only your third favourite match of the night, Jason.
So, I thought this match was quite good.
Quite good.
Shall I explain my logic as to why, obviously these two are very sound in the ring, but the things that I thought about after watching this was there was a lot of kicking and a lot of big moves, nowhere near enough selling, and that just pisses me off. Where it went into Young Bucks territory.
Oh, okay, go on.
It went into Young Bucks territory. Here's a big move, it should kill someone and get the pin. Oh, I'm going to get up and kick you straight in the head, and then I'm going to fall down, and they keep hitting each other in the head at the same time. There was just too much of that. There was some
Don't you like the Young Bucks?
I mean, I really enjoyed that match, but I think I had the same kind of issue with it. But I'm just pointing out this. I know what the Young Bucks, that's what I'm going to get from Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano. I was hoping there might have been a bit more in terms of storytelling and pacing to it. It felt like they were just trying to go really quick, really too fast into the match. They were hitting the big moves. My notes were there's just not enough storytelling. It was just moves.
I thought there was loads of storytelling, and I haven't watched the weekly show.
Yeah, there was good storytelling. Let's go straight to the ending, the Panama Sunrise into the last shot. The reason why that was good storytelling, Jason, is the fact that you couldn't finish Gargano off with the Panama Sunrise. You couldn't finish off Gargano with the last shot, but combined he could, and that's what won him the NXT title. The calling out the Undisputed Era of as a fake move, as a fake out, is one of the best things I've seen in just one of the best little things I've seen in a long time in a wrestling ring. Just simple stuff like that is what really elevated that match beyond, say, a Riddle versus Strong, which is a great wrestling match, undoubtedly a great wrestling match. But this had a better story to it by far.
That little moment of faking out, calling out your mates, that completely blew me away because it's so simple, but I don't think I've ever seen anyone do it before.
Yeah, it's so unique, and I just loved it, and I think it really exploited the ref bump. I don't really love ref bumps anywhere you go. I don't like ref bumps, It's just one of those things. It's one of those annoying tropes that I just don't like. But if you're going to do it, use it wisely, and I think they used it very wisely here. So
I guess on that point, I mean, overall, I enjoyed the match. I was not a fan of the finish. NXT is better than ref bumps, and I think what a couple of things on this. I really hate that they've taken the belt off of Johnny Gargano already after that. Is he? Oh yeah, okay. I don't know if he's injured or not. That's the first time hearing about it. But this long-running feud, him and Ciampa, and the way they had to change the storyline anyway, he finally gets the belt. And what do? They take it off him on the first show they get the chance to do it on. And I was more interested in seeing what Johnny was going to do moving on to fight with other people. I'm not that interested in Adam Cole cutting a promo about being NXT champion at last, and I don't know who he's going to defend against, but I'm just meh to me. It just feels like, I don't know, I'm not the big of an Adam Cole fan as you are, Brod. And it made me realise,
Adam Cole has the most beautiful eyes in the world. If you saw him, at Takeover weekend, you'd love him. I love Adam Cole. But more than Omaha Steaks.
My other point is I really like Johnny Gargano, but what really made Johnny Gargano was Ciampa. That's what made him better. Just the feud they were having and the work that Tommaso was doing is what elevated Johnny to make him amazing in my eyes. And those series of matches they had were what really made him amazing.
No. Johnny Gargano versus Andrade Almas is probably the best technical match in NXT history. You have Johnny Gargano versus Andrade Almas again at NXT Takeover Brooklyn. I think it was Takeover Brooklyn 3. One of the best opening matches to a takeover ever. His match with Aleister Black was fantastic storytelling. I guess that stems from the Tommaso Ciampa storyline, but it shows how well Gargano can work as a heel. His stuff with Ricochet was just equally as fantastic. Tommaso Ciampa has only really worked with Johnny Gargano, in my opinion. You sure he's done his Velveteen Dream and Aleister Black, but it wasn't. Those two matches weren't the same level as Gargano's matches outside of that rivalry. So for me, Gargano, and I love Tommaso Ciampa, Tommaso Ciampa's a great heel, but has he done both? No. Johnny Gargano's done both. Johnny Gargano's done them really, really well. Johnny Gargano is probably the best wrestler in NXT history, and probably the best wrestler in WWE right now.
And I think I accept that he's an amazing wrestler as well, but I think it's more. I think it's more the extra, like the character of like Ciampa is what like brought more out of him. I'm not seeing the same fire, I guess, with Adam Cole and Johnny.
I think the Adam Cole thing's a little weird, man, because you wanted the DIY reunion and to work that out in New York, and it didn't plan out the way they wanted to. And I don't think the storyline has been the best. I'll give you that, but I don't think that should take away from Johnny Gargano's attention to perform. When Tommaso Ciampa was injured, Johnny Gargano was amazing as a singles guy, like broken down, beaten down, couldn't get a win, and then he finally becomes number one contender, and then he just loses to Andrade in the most excellent match. I completely disagree with you.
Sam, what's your view?
On Johnny Gargano, I don't know. I don't think he's like the new wrestling Jesus. He's pretty good. There was a few bits. I'm
pretty good.
I'm understating it. He's very good. All right.
He's pretty good. That is the understatement of the century. You know who's pretty good? Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is pretty good. John Moxley, he's pretty good. They're not fantastic. And I'm saying as a guy who loves the Shield, by the way.
Every Gargano match that I watch, I go into it thinking, maybe this will be the one. Maybe this will be the one where I finally, something clicks in my head and I go back and watch his whole NXT career and go really mad for him every time. And every time, I don't know what it is. The matches he has are not bad by any stretch of the imagination, by a long way. And he is clearly very charismatic. He's very good at what he does. But there's something about him that just... maybe it's just me. I don't know what it is.
I'm going to lay out some controversy. Gargano versus Cole, Riddle versus Strong was better than anything on that AEW card.
I mean,
that was a mic drop, by the way.
I don't think anything on NXT can compare to Dustin Rhodes versus Cody Rhodes.
I think Dustin versus Cody was great. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not slagging that match off. I'm just saying. I think those two matches were better in terms of technical ability, at least. And I'm saying this to you as wrestling fans, you're wrestling fans. I'm a sports entertainment nut myself, So
I think that's a bullshit distinction. Wrestling is wrestling.
I don't think it's bullshit.
But we're not here to talk about AEW or whether sports entertainment is different from wrestling.
I just think, a lot of people comparing this card to AEW. I don't really get it. They're both really good.
We're comparing in the same way we compare NXT shows to the main roster shows. If you're going to have them that close together, it's inevitable there's going to be comparisons of like the matches that happen.
Come on, let's be honest. NXT is way better than the main roster. Full stop. Everything.
Probably
not. Always that, and that's what always what happens. Though. We always say, "Man, the NXT show was so much better than the same main roster show on that weekend," and that's normally what we would do. Well, because we haven't got a main roster show this weekend because of Blood Money in the Bank. Instead, we're comparing it to AEW. I think that's what
I don't even know what that show is. As far as I'm concerned, that show is like the Chris Benoit of shows.
I'm still saying, going back to it was a good match. It's just felt like there was not enough selling.
A lot of people said this is better than the one in New York. I actually disagree.
No,
I think the New York
they're wrong. Better. The one in New York was definitely better.
Yeah, I marked out more. I'll say this though, I had this one spoiled for me. And it wasn't even my fault this time. It was somewhere random I saw it. It was just like...
someone spray painted it on a wall.
No.
Outside your house.
No, I don't use social media, but I think it might have came up on somewhere on like Google search or whatever. It's just like,
yeah.
Adam Cole's NXT champion. I'm like, fuck's sake.
I always get done by Google Now. When it goes, here's a news story you might like, and then there's just always a spoiler
stay away
in
from Google. Anyway, we're going off topic. We need to wrap this up and talk about the other important show.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, I mean, before just quickly summarize, I think Adam Cole versus Matt Riddle might make a great main event in Toronto. I think, there's potential there. And I think there's also potential for Roderick Strong to defect from the group. they've kind of teased it already. I think that's going to be a long-term storyline. So I think there's things to watch out for the Adam Cole thing. I think NXT needs to build more stars, and I think if Gargano's injured, that's going to really hinder the product going forward.
I'm not seeing anything anywhere about this Johnny Gargano injury you're talking about. So.
There is stuff.
I don't believe rumor and innuendo.
Well, it's not 100% confirmed, but he wasn't at NXT house shows in the build.
Yeah.
He's allowed some time off.
Wrestling Inc. is reporting that he's dealing with a knee injury.
Thank you. Anyway.
Overall ratings, right?
Yeah, so the grade. Like,
so last week I said I thought this was going to be a B show, and I'm sticking by that.
I somewhat agree. I think it's B+.
Are we doing letter grades?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think probably somewhere between a B and a B+. In
doesn't
the
exist,
middle.
Sam.
All right, then fine. We'll round up because it's wrestling. B+.
I did like that joke. Who's your favourite wrestler of the night? MVP? Your
Kyle O'Reilly, I think. I have to go for Kyle O'Reilly.
Oh.
For me, I mean, I want to say Matt Riddle, but I already know he's great. Can I have just the Street Profits as a team? Or do I have to pick one?
Yeah.
Because I don't know them well enough to know which one's which.
Montez Ford is the skinnier one.
Okay, well, I'll be able to pick which one's better next time then. But, yeah.
I'm going Montez Ford to the Street Profits. I thought he was fantastic. So
yeah.
All three of us took it from the ladder match. I mean, you've already said your match of the night, Jason, is Riddle versus Strong. Do you have the same sentiment?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. It was very good.
For me, it was close, but I'm going Johnny Gargano versus Adam Cole. Not to spite you either. I actually had that noted down, but it's very close between that and Riddle versus Strong.
Yeah.
So after this, we'll be doing another review, our first ever retro review, and it's NXT Arrival. Join us after this break.
Hey you! If you like the podcast, then remember to like the Holy Shoot Wrestling Podcast on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at Holy Shoot Pod. Do it now!
So, we are back. And before we talk about NXT Arrival, I want to say a couple of things. First and foremost, apologies. In the previous segment, I love John Moxley. I think he is great. I just realized I said, oh, he's pretty good. I was just trying to figure a name off the top of my head. And as soon as I said it, I was like, damn. So, for the record, I absolutely love John Moxley. And I felt Dean Ambrose, when he was Dean Ambrose back in the day, should have been WWE champion way earlier.
Do you want to randomly pull like another wrestler who's kind of not quite like upper card but not great instead to replace him with?
Sheamus.
Yeah, perfect.
I hope he doesn't retire. By the way, I got a feeling he might retire this year. It's just kind of weird what's happening with him right now. But anyway,
Sheamus. Oh, and we're
yeah,
about to get on a real tangent.
Yes, it's the nicest. Anyway, the other thing I really wanted to talk to you gentlemen about before we hit NXT Arrival, I'm not sure you're aware of this, is I really want to talk about Omaha Steaks.
Oh, fucking hell. Rod, they have to pay us.
You could do with a filet mignon.
I mean, yeah, I would like to eat one of their delicious, juicy and succulent steaks, but I'm not advertising them for free.
I am. I just really want an Omaha steak. If anyone is listening to this and wants to give me an Omaha steak, just tweet out Holy Shoot Pod. Please do. But anyway, let's move on to the serious subject of our first ever retro review, which is NXT Arrival, which is a complete stark contrast to NXT Takeover 25, small, full sale setting. Guys, what are your initial thoughts after watching the show?
Overall, they've come a long way in terms of what they define as a takeover show, I guess, because this wasn't even a takeover, it was just called Arrival, so it's very different.
Yeah. So, just a brief bit of history. This is like February 2014 this happened, and this was basically a network special, the first ever network special that they did live on the WWE Network.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially, I think they used this as a way to test the streaming service before WrestleMania 30, which the first.
Yeah, I believe it was their first live stream, wasn't it? What they did.
Yeah, it was, and by all accounts, it was a complete disaster. I googled it, and all you can find is loads of people going, "If they don't fix this before WrestleMania, everyone's going to be really angry."
Yeah, so basically, I think it cut out near the end, and basically, it was just before Neville won the NXT title.
Yeah, very annoying, I can imagine.
Yeah, so the first actual NXT takeover happened 3 months later. I think it was based off the success of this show because a lot of people really rated this show highly back at the time in 2014. So, Sam, we didn't get your original thoughts, but I just thought I'd provide some context to the listener.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I thought it was a good show. I enjoyed it. You are, like Jason said, they've come a really long way.
Yeah, I actually really enjoyed this show. More than I thought. Like, it isn't a fantastic wrestling show by any stretch of the imagination. It's very much, and I'm not sure if you guys agree with me here, a WWE show, a main type show. But this is proper developmental. This is the reason why NXT was built, and I think we forget why NXT is supposed to be there. And I don't know, it kind of reminded me of the warm, good old fuzzy days, because I used to watch this on Sky Sports, by the way.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I thought it was the right length for a wrestling show, 2 hours. I think that might be like the golden length, the perfect length for a wrestling show. And it was a really easy watch.
Yeah, it was a really easy watch. So, shall we talk about our favourite match? Because I think our favourite match is all going to be the same one here. And that's Cesaro versus Sami Zayn. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, when I look at it, there's like 6 matches on this show, right? And 3 of them are good. This one's really good of those 3. Yeah. And I enjoyed it.
Oh, sorry.
Yep.
Yeah, there was a few key things I was going to mention, Sam, but if you want to ask something first, you go for it.
Oh, no, well, I was just going to ask, why was Cesaro doing the Jack, what's his face, We the People gimmick?
Well, that's what I found odd when I was watching, because at the point when Jack Swagger and Cesaro were a tag team, and they were both whatever they were called.
The Real Americans.
The Real Americans. And it was a spell when he was doing that terrible, terrible gimmick, which made no sense for him to be doing. And I'd forgotten that this was going on at the time, and then I'm watching it, I was like, oh, that's when this is set. Okay, I remember now, and it's like, oh, God, that's
stupid. Because I was expecting that funny. Weird, like, not the current entrance, obviously.
Yodeling Cesaro?
No, it wasn't Yodeling Cesaro. He had like a weird French theme tune, which I think they reprised from someone else in the 90s. And it was kind of like, okay. I thought they were going to do that. And it's just like, what? And then Sami Zayn didn't have his current theme tune. I was like, what? My mind is blown. I completely forgot about this.
Both of their themes were fucking awful. They sounded like they'd been recorded in like 1994 on a crappy MIDI keyboard or something.
I mean, the We the People theme worked for Jack Swagger because Jack Swagger was a racist.
Yeah, a famous racist, Jack Swagger.
Kayfabe racist, by the way. Kayfabe racist.
Of course.
But yeah, Cesaro, man, it was kind of weird as well. They actually referred to WWE a lot, like, he pinned the World Heavyweight Champion Randy Orton. He came close to beating John Cena. And then he obviously won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, so you thought he was going to get a great push at the time. But yeah, this match, though, let's go to this match. This was great.
I mean, there's a few things. I mean, it's about a 22, 23-minute match. It's really good. A few things that stood out to me, though, just like if we're doing the flashback thing. Sami Zayn looks in the best shape we've ever seen him in terms of just muscle and tone.
Oh, yeah.
And everyone always says when you go from the NXT to the main roster, you're basically putting about 15 pounds of like non-muscle, I guess, and it's like a common thing because they say you're not working out all the time when you're on the road. Yeah. And it was just noticeable watching this. I was like, wow, Sami Zayn was in really good shape at this point.
I thought the same about Cesaro. Actually, I have a note written here. Is Cesaro more jacked here than he is today? I thought he looked like, both of them looked in way better shape than they do on the main roster.
I mean, that's the difference between working 270 days and, well, less days. This is what I suppose. Yeah. But yeah, oh man, this match was lit. It's not as good as a 2 out of 3.
Did you also notice?
Sorry.
So, did you notice Sami Zayn had the Arabic on his tights, which he doesn't have anymore, right? So I was like, when did that go away? And they thought,
he doesn't have any reference. The only reference they make to... Oh, sorry.
As soon as he went to the main roster, pretty much, because he was like... They did make reference to the fact that he was half Syrian back in the day, I think.
Yeah, the only reference they do to the fact he's half Syrian now is when he doesn't turn up at the Saudi shows, and that's all. They don't talk about it any other time.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, Saudi show.
He is half Syrian, by the way. Yeah, cracking match. Well, I mean, it's worth going back to watch this pay-per-view for this. Yeah. I would say.
Have you guys ever seen the 2 out of 3 falls match they did prior to this one?
No, when I was Googling about this one, I saw
match.
Yeah, bits of it.
That match is even better. And I felt this one's a slight letdown because I forgot about this match. Because I thought, this is a 2 out of 3 falls match, and then I watched it. It's like, this one is a slightly worse one of the two. I say slightly worse, it's still a very good match.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What was your favorite spot? I think my favorite spot was when Sammy tried to do the DDT spot through the middle ring post, and then Cesaro just hits him with an uppercut.
Yes,
Yeah,
I was going to say the same one.
I remember that, and this was 'cause I forgot Sammy used to do that. That was one of his signature moves, that through the middle buckles on the outside. I was like,
He
I
used to do
miss
it all the
Sammy
time.
doing that.
Yeah, babyface Sammy is great for that. I think the other thing is just like the fact that Sammy hulks up after 4 like massive fuck off uppercuts from Cesaro. Just the way that they connected and the way that Sammy sold the first 3 as well. It's just so awesome to watch. It's told a fantastic story.
He's so good as a babyface. Everything he does in the match, when he's getting beaten up, I'm like, "Oh, Sammy, come on! I believe in you. You can do this."
And that's how I feel about Johnny Gargano.
I was completely invested. Why did they make it? He's not good as a heel. He just isn't.
Okay,
Sami Zayn.
That's a conversation for another time.
Yeah.
But I think it's more a case we forgot how great he is as a face.
Yeah, that's fair.
And he was the heart and soul of NXT for a reason. And this match is fantastic. Anybody want to add anything?
No.
Don't know. Just it was a really good, enjoyable match, and that finished with the what was it? It was a like spinning uppercut forearm and then a neutralizer. Just looked very meaty looking.
Oh, that spinning uppercut was great. Cesaro and Sami Zayn are great. I think we can say this to the cows come home. This was apparently one of the match of the year candidates for WWE.
And rightly so.
Yeah. And moving on to something that I thought was even better, Mojo Rawley versus CJ Parker.
What stood out to me here was like I saw Mojo in the opening credit. I was like, I didn't realize Mojo had been around that long. And then he got the promo video, and then he had the match. I was like, I'd forgotten he'd been around since the very early days. He was on NXT for a long time.
Yeah.
I've got 4 notes written for this one. The first one is, what the fuck is Juice Robinson doing? The second line is, CJ Parker looks like a music festival Reiki pervert. He looks like the kind of guy who comes up and hits on your girlfriend while you're just sat there, and then like tries to get her to come back to his tent so he can give her a holistic therapy massage or some bollocks. And then I still don't care about Mojo Rawley. That's my takeaways from this match.
Yeah, I never really connected with either guy. So a little context, like for me personally, I used to watch NXT kind of on off when it was on Sky Sports, and then it went on to Network. Didn't kind of bother with it after that point, and then I resubscribed to the Network. I started watching it properly after Takeover Dallas, which is in 2016. So there's like a 2-year gap where the first real great lot. I just remember CJ Parker being like, "Oh, this guy's crap." It's kind of weird to see how well he's doing now.
From the way they were putting him over on commentary, it made it sound like he had one of the Daniel Bryan Universal Champion gimmick that he had, the Planet's Champion, but just done way worse.
Yeah, pretty much. He was like an environmentalist character essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't quite get. I was like, it's some sort of weird hippie he was trying to be. It was it didn't work.
I'm surprised how over Mojo was. That's the only other thing.
That too. Yeah, that surprised me.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Full Sail University didn't have standards back then.
What made me laugh about Mojo was like when he was in all that red gear, because he was not as he's slightly softer in shape. He reminded me of the old Bolkovich. I think they called the Bolkovich to the old I guess the USSR tag team. I think was it the Volkov they called him as well. And he just looked like one of those big, angry, like Russian generic heels. But then he was like wrestling as a face. But then his finisher was, I'm going to sit on your chest like I'm a big 400 pounder. I'm not actually that big.
Yeah, that was a really bad finish. Just like, I'm just going to show you my asshole, essentially. Just like...
Yeah, it was a strange. I guess that don't know how long that lasted, but yeah, it was a bit of a weak finishing move.
Yeah, it was like a 3-minute match.
3 minutes and 25 seconds.
Yeah,
we talked about it longer than the match, probably.
Yeah, probably did. So let's move on to something that really highlighted how crap the tag team division was in NXT back in the day. The Ascension faced Too Cool. Yes. Those young upcomers.
Yeah.
Too Cool.
Really?
Oh dear.
My notes on this.
Oh, sorry.
So go ahead. My notes is the Ascension were beasts back then. They looked like big lads, and they were just doing dominant moves. And Too Cool come out and like Scotty is now bald and looks old, and then they get dominated. Those are my notes.
I think Scotty's a cancer survivor, so that's why he doesn't have the hair.
It just looked weird, but he kept the dodgy moustache. It looked weird with the moustache because it was like a thinned out moustache to what he used to have.
Okay, let's not go too down the roots of Scotty too, Holly.
I mean, I think Tuchel's gimmick on the whole just doesn't look great on anyone older than about 30 because that's what it is, you know.
It's kind of just stay in the 90s.
Yeah. It doesn't matter, you know, what they'd been through leading up to this match. They couldn't have pulled that gimmick off, even if they were in perfect health. So yeah,
I think the one move I did like was when Scotty tried to do the worm, and I think it was Victor who pulled him into the ropes. I thought that was actually
it was the right thing to not let him hit the worm on the Ascension.
Yeah.
No, he got all the meaningful bits of the worm out, the hopping and the swinging the arms and stuff.
Yeah, and I really like the Fallen Man finisher. I forgot how, I like that finisher, but I was never a huge fan of the Ascension. I always thought they'd do better than what they're currently doing, but I was never a huge fan back in the day, and I was never a huge fan of the NXT Tag Team division until essentially the Revival and American Alpha came along.
See, I'd like to see...
Yeah, they really made it take off.
That and Enzo and Cass, like, whatever you think of them as wrestlers, they were fun in NXT.
See, I'd like to see or have someone tell me some good Ascension matches to go back and watch from NXT. Because I came back to wrestling right after they'd been called up to the main roster, and I was watching Raw and SmackDown. Every week the commentary would put them over like, oh, this is the most dominating team in NXT history. They are the longest reigning tag champions, blah, blah, blah. And then they'd just be jobbing out constantly and completely underwhelming.
They had a decent one with the Lucha Dragons.
Oh yeah, but even then, not that many.
Yeah, I mean, I think we kind of forget that this was developmental. This was very much a WWE thing. It's only recently it's transitioned to Indie Super Show meets WWE, and that's what takeovers are these days. And I think we kind of forget about that, and I think we have such a high standard. This was a really highly rated show when it came out, like, live, and people were like, oh my god, this is really great, because they had three, very good, loads of people's eyes, three very good matches.
I think that's a good point. This ties into my comments on the women's matches. So, like, if you take for granted what we have now versus what they had then, and it was, I know it's not that long ago, but that's how quickly things have moved along.
And speaking about moving along, Paige versus Emma.
What stood out to me here was, like, it's a really fun match. Of course, Stephanie McMahon has to appear at fucking ringside and be all, look, I'm the brand queen, there's women in the ring, so they had to get that in there.
Yeah, so I really want to complain about something. It's like, we can do anything better. We can do anything men can do, but better. So, introducing our divas, and I'm like,
oh yeah.
Yeah, it was
definitely how misjudged. How berated of your own sex, Stephanie.
Extremely amusing. And the crowd, as soon as she gets in the ring, the crowd are chanting, you've still got it at her. Like, got what? The ability to step between some ropes?
I think they mean something else. And, yeah. I think the Full Sail crowd is probably a bit more respectful nowadays, I would hope.
I see.
Yeah, like she hasn't.
Yeah.
I think it might be something to do with her looks. I don't know. I interpret it that way.
I don't want to talk about Steph too much, but that stood out. And then, but what, as you were saying, Brod, I noticed it's like the whole references to divas and things. And I was like, oh yeah, this happened before the Four Horsewomen came along, and this was like the start of it, really, with Paige not looking like a normal diva, with her being so like pale and all this stuff. And
the original Paige, the best Paige,
the anti-diva.
Yeah,
the anti-diva. What was going on at that point?
Even though before the VT, for the video package for this match, or before, it was one for Paige before the match. It's just like they show Paige in the background, and the music is just very, very diva-y, and I'm like, oh, this makes me angry. I mean, I'm not the best feminist in the world, but this actually really annoys me. Just the music in the background is like, oh.
Yeah. Well,
please edit this out of the network.
It's very funny to go back and see that, and you're like, oh yeah, this has happened before we got even a glimpse of like Charlotte and all the cool stuff that came after that. And
Charlotte was in the crowd.
Yes, and that's the thing. Charlotte was in the crowd, not looking like Charlotte does now. I guess it's looking like a happy fan there with her dad, where she was like, early in her developmental days. It was interesting to see that.
She was definitely on the roster because they had the box out of like Charlotte Flair, NXT, whatever. On it, but I don't know how. I don't know.
It was a good match. I've got to say that as well, though.
Yeah, I mean that power bomb. I love the crowd just chanting better than Batista because this was.
Oh yeah, that was what they were chanting. I couldn't hear.
This was Batista's failed run at WrestleMania 30. Remember? So it was actually really, really good joke. But at the same time, that was an awesome power bomb spot. I think that was my favorite spot of the match.
Yeah.
And I think the way one thing I do want to point out before I say this, the commentary. The commentary was really good here, and I don't know. I really like Tom Phillips, Byron Saxton, and William Regal as a team.
Yeah, the commentary was great the whole night.
On the powerbomb, I just want to. I was rewatching this because I've never seen this all the way through this show, and I'm watching this match, and my wife points out the little things I sometimes don't notice, and she pointed out, oh yeah, Paige is going to take the powerbomb, but she's got time to sweep her hair out of her face while she's like holding on before she goes down to make sure she looks good taking the move. She's not worried about getting out of it and punching, and when the face, she's got to sweep her hair back so she hits and looks good. So the little
come on now. Kayfabe, she's got to get the hair out of her eyes so she can see when she hits the ground in order to punch Emma properly. Come on now.
Yeah. Kayfabe, Jason. Come on, yeah. That would never happen. Fair enough. This was a good match, and I really like the finish. No one ever kicks out of the Paige Turner, and then Emma kicks out, and then it's the first time you ever see the PTO submission, which I forgot how brutal it looked.
Yeah, it looks vicious. I thought the Paige Turner looked rubbish. But
the Paige Turner was. I never liked that finisher. I've always thought it was a pants finisher. I like the Rampage DDT. I thought that was better.
Yeah,
because it spikes the person on the head. It looks like it spikes the person on the head. Obviously, it doesn't. But yeah, the PTO. What a awesome submission hold that is to look at. I think that's a great submission hold, and Emma really sold it well.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, Emma's someone who I think. She's got undeniably extremely good in-ring talent, but she's never found a gimmick that works for her, I don't think.
See, I don't...
The dancing happy stuff, It
was really over in NXT. It just didn't translate to the main roster.
Oh, fair enough. I thought she looked like she wasn't really as into it as the fans were.
She... I don't know. I think she had this weird dynamic where... she was a face, but she could act like a heel. Meanwhile, Paige acted like a heel, but she was a face. That's the sort of characters they had, because Paige's like, I'm the anti-diva, I don't like anybody, and this, but actually her character had a heart of gold. That was kind of the way their characters worked in NXT at that time. So it was a weird contrast, but it actually worked, and it actually, compared to the rest of the divas at the time, and that's what they were sadly called. In fact, no, scrap that. Compared to the rest of the women's superstars, because I'm going to ignore the term diva, they were all one-dimensional, with the exception of AJ Lee. They were all bland characters, not their fault. This was the first time you actually saw proper characters come into women's wrestling in WWE in a long, long time.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And the commentary team made reference to how unlike other women's matches this match was. I think they make a point of commenting about how they had to call the powerbomb. I never thought I'd call a powerbomb in a women's match ever. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that's the only downside is that hey, look, women can wrestle too. I think that's the only downside to the commentary in this match. Other than that, I thought it was a really good match for what it was. And back in the day, this would have been a 4-star match because you hadn't seen that in women's wrestling in a long time. But now I'd probably give it 2.5, 3.
Yeah, fair.
So up next, Tyler Breeze versus Xavier Woods. The battle of the general managers on Up, Up, Down, Down. Never happened because Rusev interferes. Do you guys want to say anything about this? Because I don't really have much comment.
The only thing was I was confused why Xavier was coming out to the Brodus Clay theme tune.
Yeah, Clay was around at that time as well. The Funkasaurus.
Yeah, it was weird. That was the only thing. Other than that, nothing much. Rusev comes out, crushes them, looks like a beast.
I wasn't expecting Rusev. I hadn't looked up anything about this show before I watched it, kind of on purpose. So when he ran in and started beating them up, I was like, it's fucking Rusev, do him! And I got really into it.
Crash. Yeah, I think Rusev got called up the night after WrestleMania 30 as well, because I think he went on an undefeated run before losing to Cena the following WrestleMania. And that was a really good run.
When did he stop wearing those foot wrap things instead of boots? I thought they were cool.
That was his appearance in it was not the Royal Rumble. It was soon after his call up. Yeah, we broke a foot in the match. So it was only a few months on the main roster, but he kept that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, bring it back, Rusev. I know you're listening.
Right.
I'm waiting for Matt Riddle to break his foot and have to do the same thing.
Yeah, fair.
I think Cassius Ohno already tried that.
Oh yeah, they did do that.
Yeah. We're getting off topic.
So, main event. This was. My answer to this ladder match was good, especially I guess for NXT developmental at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you were to have a ladder match now on an NXT Takeover like we were talking about for 25, you would expect maybe a bit more, but this was still really good, and Neville was great.
I didn't think it was that good.
I thought, yeah, in the context of this show, I thought it was a good match. I thought, yeah, like Jason said, maybe if this was a main event for TakeOver 25, you'd probably expect a bit more. But I thought they didn't go too mad on the ladders or doing loads of silly spots with them. They built logically to bring the ladders into the match, and then also they can go other places with the ladder matches in NXT after this. It's not like the first match sets a ridiculously high bar and then everyone has to do stupid stuff.
I think maybe my slight issue is it's a remarkably similar structure to the second level ladder match in NXT history between Finn Balor and Kevin Owens. So maybe, because I forgot this match existed. So again, I'm like rewatching it for the first time in 8 years, and I'm like, oh, this is also a slow-paced ladder match. This is not unique. And I remind myself, no, this came first. So I thought it was good. I just think it lacked that one big spot to define the match. Because at the end, you had the red arrow on Bo Dallas onto the ladder, and then Bo Dallas rolled off to the outside, which I didn't particularly enjoy. Like, surely Bo Dallas would just stay on the ladder. I don't know. I think that's just one thing I didn't particularly like. I would have had him, if anything. Not that I want to see them put their bodies on the line too much, but I would love to see the spot off the top of the ladder from Neville, because he is a man that gravity forgot. Remember, this is his character. He's supposed to do wacky, high-flying crap, and not crap, but you know what I mean. Like he's supposed to take you to the next level, and it never did. And I think that's a disappointment for me in the match.
Yeah, true. I went into this one the same, expecting to see the red arrow off the ladder. And they didn't go with that. But I thought that might be because they were maybe planning a follow-up match where that would happen further down the line or something.
I think Bo Dallas got called up relatively soon afterwards, which led to some of JBL's best commentary. He's 1 and Bo. He's 2 and Bo. He's 3 and Bo, when Bo Dallas was undefeated. But
one of the things I really enjoyed on this was I quite enjoyed Delusional Bo, and understanding more about the character he was doing at the time. I think it didn't quite work on the main roster with the whole Believe thing. I felt like they didn't get it. I don't know if they pushed it too far, but he played the tone just right at this point.
Yeah. I think I got it watching the VT building to this match, because again, I started watching wrestling again after a little break, just when he was about to be called up. So my first introduction to Bo was those random like clips where it would just be him on a blue background going, "Believe," and that's all. And I didn't really get what was going on there or why we were being told about this guy. But yeah, it seems like the inspirational Bo Dallas was quite fun to watch back in NXT.
I hated NXT Bo Dallas. I know that's the point, but I was kind of like, go away. For me, it was always like, go away, Heat. I kind of got what they're trying to do with him, and it was like smart, but it just didn't work for me personally. I think that's the difference. For me, I think Bo is a fantastic, comedy guy. There's nothing wrong with that. I think he can actually do more than that, and I think he's actually a really solid wrestler. And this match proved it.
It was good to see main event Bo Dallas in this match.
For those who don't know, the reason why I kind of cut off halfway through is Jason is playing with his cat right now.
He is. There's lots of jokes I could make now about stroking and other words for cats. But instead of making them, I'm just going to let all of you make them in your head.
This isn't WWE in 2014. We're in 2019, goddammit.
Oh, so this is like the PG-13 era.
No. I mean, we can swear, just, don't make any references to...
Only in the third hour of the podcast.
Yeah. Oh, dear. Yeah.
Anyway...
Anyway, maybe one day we'll do an After Dark segment. But anyway, so yeah, Any other thoughts on the main event?
No,
Not
watch
really.
it. It's good.
Like, it's definitely worth checking out. Like I say, just check out this show to see NXT 1 versus 25 and how much it's changed.
Yeah, definitely worth a watch. So, we also had a match tonight, Cesaro versus Sami Zayn. Who's our MVP? I assume it's going to be from this match.
Yeah,
Sami Zayn, I'm going with.
I was going to say Cesaro just because for me, it was nice to see him doing like good big boy singles stuff instead of being. Not that he's bad at tag team wrestling. It's just he's really good at singles wrestling.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Mojo Rawley.
Fuck off.
I know I love push sounds buddies. No, the true MVP is Omaha State. No.
Yeah, Omaha Steaks, I'm in on that actually. MVP of both shows.
I'm torn, but I'm going to go with Sami Zayn. He's a great babyface, and I forget how great he is. Yep.
Bro, there must be an indie wrestler somewhere in America who's now going by the name Omaha Steak. You know there's going to be someone in the indie scene doing that gimmick.
Yeah, and just to avoid the copyright problems, it would be Omaha Steak, not Omaha Steaks.
Yeah, or Steaks with a Z or something. There'd be something there.
Or maybe it'd be a tag team from Omaha, Nebraska called the Omaha Steaks.
Maybe we should have a British wrestler do the Blue Chew gimmick as well, and then he can have his tagline be "I'm a hard man."
I'm a hard man. Oh God! Let's get back to I really regret saying Omaha Steaks. Out of 5,
they might turn out to be a future sponsor. So let's not. We're open to sponsorship.
Oh God! So overall grade, letter grade, guys. Letter grade.
I go C. No, C. I guess is it a C or a C plus? It's a hard one to judge, isn't it? Because it's not the most amazing show, but it's solid. I'm going to give it a C, just to be sort of average.
Yeah, I think compared with today's takeovers, it would be a C. But in context at the time, I'd probably go with a B plus.
Yeah,
like Takeover 25.
Yeah, I'm going to go somewhere in the middle. I'm going to go B, and my reason why is A, context. B, compared to a lot of the main roster shows, it's actually on a par, and I think you got 3 really good matches. I was like, Neville versus Styles, slightly disappointed. It's still pretty good, so it's definitely worth checking out, and it reminds me of what NXT should be. Instead of like an indie super show, it should be proper developmental, and that's what it should be about. Oh no, I ruined my joke. I was going to go 4 out of 5 Omaha Steaks. Damn it. Anyway.
But it's also worth checking out because William Regal is excellent on colour commentary, and you should just check out every show where he's on commentary because he makes it really good.
And
even the shit stuff. Oh, Brod's locked up a bit there, I think. Oh no, he's back.
Yeah, I am here. Just keep that in the podcast. Fuck it. So yeah, that wraps it up this week on the Omaha Steaks podcast. No laugh, fine. So that wraps it up.
I thought that was serious. I just figured we are now holy Omaha Steaks.
No, we're just Omaha. We're not anointed with holy water. Anyway, sorry. So that wraps it up for the Holy Shoot podcast this week. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you did enjoy the show, remember to subscribe to us. And also follow us on the social media. So like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at Holy Shoot Pod. Anyway, that's all we have time for today. And that's the bottom line, as this pod said so.